All right. If you don't mind, who's on? They got one person waiting. I'm assuming it might be someone from Facebook. We'll see how this goes. Just finishing loading up the brush. All right, got another person. You guys, thanks for hopping on. Basically, I'm going to be doing my live shave, and usually what I do is in Saponificio Veracino's Facebook group. I don't know, I've probably done like 25 shaves or whatever, and I usually just do it on theirs, but I basically posted this link on 3 Facebook groups, and then Shave Nook and Damn Fine Shave. So trying to cross all the platforms. So anyway, whoever's watching, thanks for hopping on. Feel free to ask any questions if you want. But basically I've got, I don't know, 5 days worth of growth. All right. What's up, David? I just got your text. Maybe you're the only one watching. Okay. Yeah. So we're, I haven't done a video in a little while, so forgive me, but I've got my brush already loaded up. This is the one thing I wanted to do. So basically I've learned that with SV, there's maybe like 5 formulas that I think are like top notch for my skin, and the other ones work really well too. So in this little jar, I have mango butter and Kokum butter. And what I used to do is just put a little bit of mango butter on the top. And I think it helps with the soaps. Like, for instance, this is Stella Alpina. So I wanted to give you guys an example. If I was going to put a little bit of mango butter or Kokum butter on, I've got just a small amount. And if I was going to put this on a hard puck, I'd spread it around, and then I'd put my veil of little water to bloom it or whatever. So I don't use a whole lot, but it basically just gives the lather a little bit of boost, a little bit more density. I don't know that it changes the amount of water that it can take, but anyway, so I already have this loaded up. We're using Manna di Sicilia Beta 4.0 with a little bit of added Kokum butter and mango butter. So basically the setup that I'm using today, I've been using maybe like the last 4 shaves. And if you guys haven't seen any of my videos before, they're really not public, but it's been a while, maybe like 2-3 years since I really enjoy rotating a bunch of stuff. So when I'm doing these videos, you more or less get to see somebody that is using the same setup rather than someone that's rotating a setup. So basically, Manna di Sicilia, for me, is one of the better in-shave performing soaps. Just tends to protect the skin, and this lather can take quite a bit of water. And then basically what I do, I've got this little dish. This is a new one that I finished, but this has got just a little bit of bloom water in it. So I just dip this. I've got another person hopping on. So what was kind of interesting was on Damn Fine Shave, someone was showing off their Badger brush that it just has like no hair left. And it seems like this person got a lot of, there we go. David, I see your comment. But this person had the brush for quite a bit of time, and it sounds like they were using it pretty hard. So with my Badger brushes, every single one that I have has no glue bump. So I tend to prefer a brush that's a little floppier. And I still get hairs that come out of the knot. But in general, if I'm applying pressure and doing circles, it's just a little bit into the breach. So I know that a lot of people on the forums kind of get on the YouTubers about smashing their brushes. But I think if you're someone that's in wet shaving or brand new, if you want something that you can really scrub your face with, get a synthetic, because you're not going to damage the brush. And I think they're the better option if you're looking for, you know, something that you can really apply a lot of pressure. All right, this is pretty much good. I'm just going to give it one more coat of water. And then I'll tell you guys the setup for the hardware. Okay, and here's the last little bit of the bloom water. So there we go. So basically go till it's glossy and has a good amount of peaking. The other thing, David, I'm really not someone that's opposed, or I don't think that soaking the synthetic brushes is a bad thing. Honestly, I do think soaking them will loosen it, but the reason why I don't do it is if I use a synthetic brush, I prefer to not get it wet, put all the water that I want on top of the puck, and then I just slowly load it until all that water gets sucked up. And for whatever reason, I just never had any good experiences with, no, I'm doing it on my laptop. So, but yeah, I've never had any good experiences, excuse me, with the, like soaking the brush or running it underwater and then shaking it out and then loading. It just hasn't really worked well for me. So, okay. So BBS 1. I've had this razor, I think, for like 6 years or something. So I always tell people I hate showing off unobtainium, but it's really the one razor that I use. And for the last couple of years, I've been doing blade exploration. So this is a brand new, I think it's made in Germany, Timor ice tempered blade. But these have been working really well. This is going to be my 5th shave using this type of blade. So we got the Razor Rock aluminum handle, very light. And basically what I do, first pass all the time, I go against the grain. So, all right, here we go. So on this first pass, I've really been trying to hold this razor at the end. And it's so that I can kind of get this angle where I'm applying a pretty equal amount on the base plate and just enough to be able to get some blade feel. Generally for this razor, like for me, it's about there. There's a little bit more angle if you want more blade feel. Okay, if I remember right, David, you've got Manna di Sicilia 4.0, you've got 70th, you have the Flying Mango, and you have Stella Alpina. I don't know if you have a 5th one. So when you're asking me, are they all different formulas? Just for an example, Stella Alpina would be what I consider a very functional and very high value formula. Now, since you've tried Flying Mango, the formula is much simpler, but for whatever reason, the mango butter to me really changes how well that soap performs on my skin. So I would suggest for anyone that hasn't tried any SV soaps, if you're not going to go based on scent and you want to go for the cheapest, go for a Stella Alpina. That's going to, I think, be the best like performer at the cost. Dolomiti and Tundra Arctica are cheaper. My thing, Tundra Arctica is probably my favorite soap, and it actually is the opposite of the lather characteristics of what I normally like. So like my top 5 would be Apuntia Colonia 4.3, Manna di Sicilia 4.3. What's the other? The Flying Mango, and what's the other one that I'm forgetting? Cosmo. Those all have, I think, the most protective formula for me. But I mean, based on what I read, a lot of people find like Stella Alpina just has thinner lather than like Manna. It's got thinner lather than Flying Mango, definitely thinner than Cosmo. And basically, I chalk it up to 2 things. It's what are the fats and all the different oils that Alessandro chooses, and then how much water can it take? So in my opinion, the most thirsty soaps that SV has put out would be Cosmo, Apuntia, and Flying Mango. The thing is, that's, I think, very subjective, because I think a lot of people use the tap, but I'm always using just filtered water or distilled water. So I have a little bit more consistent results just using the cleanest water possible compared to like if someone's, you know, I know David's watching. He always mentions that with us having hard tap water in LA, give me a second here, David. But I know your comments have always been, if you had to do a general comparison between a veggie and a tallow soaps, whether it's a soft or a milled soap, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to dial in the lather with hard tap water. Now, where can you get SV in the US? The very first vendor was Phil from Bull Goose. And I've mentioned this before, but the funny thing was, I remember before SV came over here to the US, I was telling Damon at Old Town Shaving, I go, what was this? Like 2013, maybe? I remember one of the guys that was on the Il Razoyo forum. He was the one that was uploading videos and doing all these tests on YouTube. And I told Damon, I said, all these Italian people are really saying how nice this soap is. You know, we might want to get it. And so Phil brought in the very first shave soap that they made, the Felce Aromatica 4.0. So he was the first one. Maggard sells SV. What's Small Flower or Q Brothers? What's the one in New York, you guys? Why am I forgetting the name of it? Pharmacy. Why am I forgetting the name of it? Usually I'm so good with these. I think people will know. Pastore's Pharmacy. Thank you. They have it. Italian Barber has it. You know, a couple of things. Okay, why do I only use SV pretty much for the last 4 years? So, you know, it's not a hard thing to talk about, but, you know, over the years, I pretty much became vendors with everyone that I bought soap from. I mean, to tell you, since I've been like wet shaving for 8 years, Michelle from Mystic Waters, Mike's Natural Soaps, I was buying soap from them really early on. And I would say in general, there's probably like 4 artisans that worked really well as far as a formula. And I would still say SV is not the best soap by any means, but basically it's something that I use because with all the changing formulas, there's more consistency among all of these. So like when David was asking, what is it? You said, okay, are they all a different formula? Yes and no, obviously. So it always seems like the people that are soap makers. One big concern is they want to make sure that whoever is buying their soap, wherever they are in the world, if they happen to have hard water, they want them to be able to have an enjoyable experience. Then you get the people that are saying, I want to be able to have a softer puck so that I don't have to load off something that's, really hard and takes forever. That's one of the other reasons I use SV. I think that it doesn't inherently make it that much better, but no one really is an artisan in America and making their product via milling it. So the formula is not superior in SV. It's not like someone can't make it, but the difference is, I think, for me, the level of compaction in the lather is probably what I noticed the biggest difference in the fact that these are high coconut oil soaps and they're milled. So I do kind of miss using the American artisans. And to be honest, I use SV more for just the technical side. Again, they're not better. They just work better for me and my skin. They're not always my favorite scents. I think that's really what the American artisans have gotten really good at, is they have a little bit more exploration and scents. But again, I basically choose what soap. Like, I almost shaved with a Puntia today. And honestly, it's because I like Manna di Sicilia, but the weather's getting so hot. I'm ready for something a little bit more citrusy. Okay. So second pass. Obviously, you can see I got most of the beard growth off. So what I've been doing is same blade. And here I have the Razor Rock Lupo aluminum, which is supposed to be what, a WR1 Wolfman at a solid bar 0.61 gap. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. This is my cleanup pass. All right, so there we go. Aluminum Lupo. See, so on this one, this actually came with a different handle, and it's a lot more small and short, but this angle is quite a bit more vertical with how you hold the handle. All right, there we go. So basically, the way that I think of the way that I shave, I would still recommend for someone new to learn what beard reduction is. Basically, what I do after shaving for many, many years, I tend to think that my skin is a little bit more comfortable with nicks, if that's what I get. But as long as I try to avoid razor burn, basically my first pass is beard removal. I try to get as much off of my face with, within reason, as little damage to my skin as possible. Now, I almost shaved with my last, I almost shaved on video, my last shave, and it was very rare. I didn't have a single nick. That never happens. So basically, when I'm on camera, I usually do. I don't know, did I get any on this side? I don't know if that is. But in general, like I said, I don't think I practice what I would preach to someone just starting. Now, I normally don't get a baby smooth shave, but when I used to work at Old Town Shaving, I would basically tell people that you can judge your shave on two things. First of all, if you're someone that's going to be going to work, you visually are trying to look clean shaven. Then you have, and that's basically where, like, if you look in the mirror, does it look like you still have, whiskers? And then you have, how does your face actually feel? So everyone's always saying, okay, how does it feel against the grain? And they're always having to chase baby smooth. So normally my toughest spots are going to be around here on my jawline, obviously around my chin, but mostly here. This is always the hardest to get super smooth. So more or less, that's an actual shave. Let me wipe this off. I want to just mention a couple things because I got my box of blades right here. And then I'll mention everybody how I do my post shave. I don't know, David, what do you think? I mean, other than using my Lupo, is that much different than how I was shaving a few years ago? I know I was probably just using Vashkod or maybe the Persona crystals. I can't remember. All right, here I got my blades here. Okay, just give me a second. Red Pack Persona. Okay, so basically here's how my blade exploration has been going. Oh, here's another one. Okay, so real quick. So for me personally, okay, if I had to get a ton, which I still have a decent amount, Vashkods are pretty solid for me. Okay, definitely not the sharpest, but very good smoothness and decent level of sharpness. This is definitely on the more comfortable end. Okay, then I would say these were ones that I was trying for a while. They work good, but I think for the price of these, it's not worth me considering bulk buying these. Okay, this was the recent find, kind of over Christmas. I'll talk about feathers in a second. Nasset, this is probably going to be replacing what Vashkod is to me. This is the best, smooth blade, a pretty good amount of sharpness. I would say like a B. If smoothness was an A, this is going to be really good. Okay, Persona Platinum. This is where we kind of get on the other side. This is noticeably sharper than the Gillette Nasset, and we're talking about in the BBS one. This for me tends to be, you have to watch the sharpness because although it's smooth, you can get a really, really close shave. But for me, my skin can be a little bit nicked if I'm not careful with this. So this is kind of, basically, this is kind of how I visually have been thinking about this. You have one side of smoothness, one side of sharpness. Your goal is to get the top because you want a close shave without getting any razor burn and no nicks. So it's kind of finding like what can you get in the middle. And I would say these Timors, where are they at? These Timor blades, again, they seem to be working really good. I'm very surprised that I haven't had any nicks. So these right now, I don't want to say they're the best, but they're in that middle point. Very high amount of smoothness and sharpness. Okay, you mentioned feather. So the ones that I'm still going to be trying this year, I've never tried a feather in the BBS one. It's designed for that. So I'm going to give that a shot. I have Gillette here. Let's see. This is one of the vintage ones. I'm going to be trying this in the BBS one. I do have the Tungsten Persona 74. We're going to give that a shot again. And there was, I think, one more vintage blade that I have. Oh, here we go. Balzanos. Those are the other ones that I want to try in this. So I'm kind of over, again, trying a bunch of new stuff. The only new thing that I'm kind of thinking about getting is a carbon razor. And now that the Focus Tri-Talk, it's basically the R52 that's going to be coming out soon. I'm going to get that for sure before the carbon. So basically, if you guys were watching, that just kind of gives you a rundown of what you can expect to see me using or what I might be rotating through. But if you guys are watching this and I have it uploaded and it's not live, leave me a comment on what you think. But like I said, I'm not someone that's doing a rotation. I don't think I'll ever really be doing review videos. I basically just want to be enjoying my shaves as much as possible. And part of that is just not adding in too many variables. So anyway, am I going to publish this? David, you know what? I think I will, just for the heck of it. And that way more people can see it. So we shall see who sees it, who likes it, whatnot. This wasn't too bad. Heck of a setup for me to do. But anyway, like I said, we got So Sharp David. David Gonzalez is on here. I got to give him a huge shout out. I've known him for years. He's always given me a heads up, you know, in his videos. We've traded and yada, yada, yada. But he's always encouraged me to get back into making videos. So I'm hoping that this video is useful to some people or they get something out of it. And if not, give me some feedback on how we can make it better. So, all right, just to wrap up, I'm going to do one last rinse off camera. As long as I know that there's no more soap residue, what I do, same thing, little bit of mango butter and Kokum butter, put that on. And then I do the alcohol aftershave. Same thing, Manna di Sicilia. I usually do that like 10 minutes after my shave. So since I've been talking, I can pretty much just throw it on now. But usually what I'll do is this. Put it all on. You know, just one more comment. Again, most of these American artisans that I was using their soaps for years, they worked great. And I would say for me, they would all be top tier. So if I didn't have SV, I'd be plenty happy. But sometimes the in-shave protection and the post-shave really weren't what I wanted it to be. So SV just tends to be just somewhere, I don't know, just it's a little bit more specific to what my skin needs. And I think that's just, it's a soap with a little bit of fat. I don't need it to be uber fat. You know, I don't need the tallow or the lanolin. And that's not to say that I don't like it or don't think that those actually make a better lather. But anyway, I think I will hop off. David, thanks for being on here. And whoever is watching this live or watching this uploaded, thanks for tagging along. And like I said, just leave me a comment. So take care, you guys, and adios.